When General Hospital's daytime diva Mary Beth Schwartz decided to build her dream home, she sent architect Denise Tomlin to research the traditional structures of historic Charleston, South Carolina. And the resulting home, with its romantic colonnades, shaded porches, and spiral staircase, is our gracious House Beautiful of the Week.
I actually went on a trip to Charleston in the 80s and fell in love. For some reason, it really struck a chord with me, the double porches and the huge gardens. I really loved it.
There are certain houses that make you fall in love, whether it be their grace, their charm, or their striking lines. For Mary Beth Evans Schwartz and her husband Stephen, it was the formal Georgian-styled homes of Charleston, with their easy transition from house to porch and gardens beyond.
This is the style of house that works for me. Classic, lots of sun, good flow, lots of windows. I didn't want there to be anything, excuse the word, but funky about the house. I wanted it to be very classically laid out, nothing quirky.
A Southern-styled 19th century Georgian home in Pasadena, California. That's what the Schwartzes asked architect Denise Tomlin to build for them.
They were very specific about that. They wanted a new house that really had a lot of the elements of an old house. They wanted to have moldings, they wanted to have high ceilings, they wanted to have a formal kind of a feel to it, but yet it had to have all the modern conveniences of a new house.
And it had to have porches.
If I had to go back and say, what was the one thing that the Schwartzes really, really wanted? It was always the porches.
As in the houses of Charleston, the porches are essentially outside rooms that run the length of the building, with French doors opening out onto them.
It's just a great extension of the house.
A borrowed architectural element, the porches are particularly well suited to Pasadena living.
You can sit on the porch and be out of the hot sun. Pasadena is a pretty hot city. The Schwartzes have found that they are able to throw open the French doors and have the prevailing breezes come through and not really need to air condition the house.
Inside, the house resonates with elements of Georgian architecture, but it's the elegant entry stairwell that regally holds center stage.
It was incredibly important that it carry the whole theme of the house, because that's the first impression that you have when you walk in the front door, which is how it really would have been. But it's a tricky situation because it's a rectangular stair that is then transitioning to a curved stair.
Given such a challenge, laws of geometry had to be finessed and balustrades custom made. As is customary in a formal Southern floor plan, the dining room is off to one side of the main hallway and the living room is off to the other.
The living room in this house really occupies kind of the best spot on the site. It has a view down the front porch to the northeast, and it kind of sits in the middle of the front garden. So even though it's an interior room, it feels very much part of the garden.
In the furnishings, I didn't want to make them stuffy or conservative. I wanted there to be smaller pieces of furniture, little groupings. In a big room like this, to put 2 love seats is maybe not traditional, but to have lots of chairs that you can bring in, lots of little tables. They're so fun because we can all sort of clump together, and it's not, you know, the 3 of you on one couch and the other 3 on the other.
It was important to Mary Beth to have every room have kind of a special feature to it. The dining room is just a beautiful room to look at off the main entry hall. It's part of the view when you walk right into the house.
A hybrid of Charleston and New Orleans design, the dining room echoes the commitment to gracious living both those southern enclaves have long represented.
The dining room, I wanted to have sort of a New Orleans, I call it smoky feeling. I wanted it to be red of some sort and sort of romantic.
Heightening the warm, sultry redness of the room are antique Chinese panels and the overhead Russian crystal chandelier. Like the living room, this room can also spill over onto the front porch.
We had a dinner party recently, and after everybody took their after-dinner cocktails and went out on the porch and talked out there. It was lovely.
Better known as Command Central because of its size and triple views, is the kitchen.
I love to entertain, I love to have people over, I love to cook dinners, and I have a big 60-inch range with 2 full-size convection ovens that I do use.
It needed to feel old and worn, yet it had to have sort of a professional quality level of appliances. It's one of the places where we used the theory of evolution in the house. You know, not all the cabinetry matches, not all the cabinet knobs match. The cabinets have a hand-blown glass in them. There's little touches as though things might have been changed over time. A lot of times in older homes you would have a space that didn't necessarily have a function.
I'm just looking for spots where people can sit and read and relax and have quiet time.
The second-floor landing library, as it's called, also serves to separate the children's rooms from the master bedroom suite.
After living in a small house before, my husband and I were desperate for privacy. From our bed, actually, we could see down and across to the view.
One of the tear sheets that we had throughout the whole project was this view from the master bed of looking down this colonnade porch to the view. I just love that view.
I think my life is enhanced in this home because we have people over all the time. I love to get all my recipe books out, my Bon Appetits and my things, and make beautiful dinners. We use the porch all the time. When we have parties, they flow out there. My husband always plays guitar, and we have a swing out there in the tree that all the kids come over and sit in. Those are things that enhance your life.
And when people pass by, they, like Mary Beth years ago, often stop to inquire about the house's heritage.
People walk up to this house and they say, when was it built? To me, when they told me that, I did my job, you know, because nobody knows that it was completed last year.
Talk about soaked in Southern comfort. What a splendid home.